Publius Virgilius Marin, often nicknamed Virgil, was an ancient Roman poet. His poems have always been read and considered most praiseworthy, linking the founding of Roman culture to the Trojan War, describing one of the most tragic romances ever written, explaining the fundamental source of Roman conflict with Carthage. In this video, you may learn details about one of the books in Virgil's eternal renown epic, the Aeneid. Book XII, Hera makes the Trojans into Latins. With Camilla dead, the city besieged, Turnus is desperate to redeem himself. The poet compares him to a hunted, wounded hog that is ready to cease fleeing and instead wishes to die in a last charge. The Latin hero says,
"No more excuses or delays, I stand in arms prepared to combat, hand to hand. The Latians unconcerned shall see the fight. This arm unaided shall assert your right. Then, if my prostrate body hits the floor, my enemy may take my bride and crown."
Hearing these words, the Latin king and queen beg him to stay put, to simply fight defending the town. Yet, Turnus is fully determined. He leaves the town and meets the Trojan army. The intent is clear, and Aeneas likewise prepares to meet him in a single combat. Bystanders gather, two armed sides, each rooting for their own champion. Looking down from heaven, Hera, the queen of the gods, speaks to a nymph named Aeneid. This is a sister of Turnus that, after consorting with Zeus, had gained the status of deity. The queen of the gods explains to her that,
"Of every Latin beauty whom Jove seduced, to mount by stealth my often betrayed bed, only with you I do not resent his unfaithfulness."
Meaning, although Aeneid slept with Zeus, Hera's husband, the queen of Mount Olympus does not dislike her. She begs her to help protect Turnus' life. Aeneid hesitates to intervene, but does say she would like to help her brother. Before the fight, both heroes take their turns reciting some prayers, and then both make a testament in case they are defeated. Curiously, the poet makes it clear that Turnus is the lesser fighter. Therefore, unwilling to see her warrior fall, Hera intervenes further. She changes shape into a man and joins the side of the Latin bystanders. There she says, as if she were a fellow Latin soldier,
"No doubt Turnus, in this unequal strife, shall lose, with honor, his devoted life. But you, a servile and inglorious band, foreign lords shall sow your native land. Those fields your fighting fathers gained, their lazy sons will no longer possess."
These words rage or invigorate the Latins. What is more, a seeming favorable omen is cited. An eagle is seen pursued and defeated by a flock of smaller birds. Therefore, the individual fight is avoided. Filled with spiteful courage, the Latins charge the Trojans, and a conventional battle ensues. Aeneas is wounded by an anonymous arrow, a projectile whose source lies unknown. He is carried from the battlefield, and Virgil gruesomely describes how the hero himself yanks out the dart. In the meantime, Turnus regains his heart and is successful in killing many of his enemies. A doctor named Iapis has trouble healing Aeneas, therefore Venus intervenes. She prepares her own ointment or poison and applies it to her son. The doctor is amazed to see how Aeneas' wound magically and rapidly heals. He says to those around him,
"This is no mortal work, no cure of mine. No skill or art but that of hands divine. Only God could have saved him from collapse. A powerful divinity has revived our leader."
The Trojan hero therefore rises, bestows upon his son the eternal duty to assert his birthright, and returns to the fight. Many more die until the Latins are routed from the field. Turnus wishes to fight to the death, but Hera takes control of his chariot and drives him away. The routed troops did not, however, return to their city. It now sits open for attack. Thus, rather than pursue, Aeneas leads the Trojans to take the Latin town. Seeing the enemy approach, the Latin queen is quick to kill herself. The princess Lavinia, the girl who began the conflict, breaks into tears and lamentations. Turnus begs divinity permission to end his life not in flight, but in an honorable fight. Finally, Hera allows him to return to the city and calls for Aeneas to fight him as previously agreed. Once again, the Trojan concedes and they fight. As they fight, Turnus' sword is shattered on the Vulcan armor worn by Aeneas. Thus, shamefully, he once again flees. This time he is not forced to flee by the power of any divinity. He merely flees as he is unarmed. Aeneas pursues until Hera intervenes, giving Turnus a new sword. Exasperated by the interferences, Zeus speaks to his wife, aiming to calm her passions and to have her accept the unavoidable. The Queen of the Gods manages a crucial concession. She says she will let Aeneas triumph only if the Trojan do not retain their Trojan ways. She wants them to adopt the Latin language and many of the Latin cultural symbols and practices. Zeus agrees, and so a second fight takes place. Without any interference from either Venus or Hera, Aeneas finally defeats Turnus. Wounded, the Latin says,
Let all witness how defeated I beg for life. I surrender and concede my city and my wife. Against a yielding man there is only ignoble strife.
For a brief moment the Trojan considers it, but then he sees how Turnus wears the belt he previously took from Pallas, the son of Evander, the allied king. Angry at seeing this, Aeneas loses all his sense of pity and, soaking his arms in blood, kills the helpless man. Believe it or not, perhaps leaving the rest to history or imagination, right there and there, the epic poem comes to an end. Remember that the final compilation will begin with my analysis and review of the whole work. It should help in understanding the obscure moral messages and the philosophical influence this book had on Western civilization. Now, as always, consider a new aphorism.
If it is to strengthen the recipient, pain must either be soft or passing.
If you enjoy or gain from my aphorisms, know that I have thousands. I will be writing books with short thematic essays composed out of aphorisms. These essays are profound and intriguing yet easy to read. For very cheap copies, look up Protagoras Pause in the Amazon website. I repeat, Protagoras Pause, that's my name.